Everyone, delonewolf here. Welcome back to some EVE Online, and in today's video I want to talk a little bit about even more features that CCP is working on. We already saw that there's quite a lot of new stuff that's already on CC on the test server, but it looks like summer break is over for CCP and they are really working quite hard on trying to iterate on the game, on trying to improve the game. And I think a lot of this will be some very welcome news, because I was already so surprised to see the multi-buy. That's just an awesome feature in and of itself, but there's actually quite a bit more coming as well. So let's head to the browser, and I want to start with rebalancing. It's actually been a while, if I'm not mistaken, that we've had a rebalance of ships. So let's go to the forums. But they are going to rebalance the battlecruisers, so they're gonna do a pass on that. I think that's good news. It's in the features and ideas discussion. The reason I think it's good news because it does show that CCP does try to keep iterating on a short notice when they see that there's a problem, and that new release schedule gives them this ability. It would have been a lot harder to do something like another pass here, in this case on the combat and navy battle cruisers, if they had just 2 expansions every year. So I really do think that this is a big benefit to this new release cycle that CCP is employing. So part of this is we start with some stats. This is posted by CCP Fuzzy. So the percentage of all Tech 1 combat battlecruiser jumps, gates and wormholes by ship over the last 30 days. Drake's 37.4%. So this is still Drakes that are taking the cake here, but Myrmidon 17.4%. I'd say that the Myrmidon is my preferred battlecruiser. Then we've got the Hurricane, and then here the Prophecy, which is my second preferred battlecruiser, because I love the Prophecy for the fact that it combines drones with missiles. It's my favorite playstyle. It's also a pretty easy playstyle, something that's very strong in PvE. But there's much more specialized stuff you can do with the other battlecruisers in PvP. And the Myrmidon, of course, well, it has all of that drone damage as well. So that's the reason why I prefer them. And well, they're both of them in the top 4, so in the first half of the battlecruisers, at least when it comes to the jump. So that's not bad. And then percentage of all Tech 1 combat battlecruiser PvP damage from kill mails. So Drake 20%, Brutix 20%, not bad. Look at that, Brutix, not very popular here, but doing pretty nicely in PvP. It is of course a good brawling ship, close range with blasters, can really do a lot of damage. Then we've got Hurricane, and then the Myrmidon coming in at 4th with 13%, followed by the Prophecy. So I guess that the reason we see a Myrmidon in Prophecy that's a lot more popular when it comes to the number of jumps compared to the PvP damage would be because it's a really good PvE ship in like low level wormholes, C1, C2, stuff like that. And then let me see here, percentage of all Navy faction combat battlecruiser jumps, Drake Navy issue, Hurricane Fleet issue, Harbinger. Honestly, this doesn't feel too bad, pretty well balanced, except of course Drake takes the cake just a little bit. And then percentage of all Navy combat battlecruisers PvP damage, Brutix Navy issue number 1, Hurricane Fleet issue, Harbinger then, and then the Drake coming in last, Drake Navy issue with only 2.8%. So Drake Navy issue PvE ship for sure. Considering this, Brutix, honestly, Brutix a PvP ship, a very nice close range combat battlecruiser. I'm a bit surprised at how high it is in those stats, so pretty good to see. So after this, in this post, there are details to the actual rebalancing they'll do. I won't go over all of these in like complete detail. If you want to check it out, go to the forum post yourself. It's in the features and ideas forum. But maybe a quick look at the early analysis here. The Prophecy is a solid middle of the road in overall popularity and is a flexible ship that's fairly well regarded in the community feedback. So its buffs are a bit milder than those given to the other ships. I think it's normal. The Prophecy, it already has a really good tank and then 2 really good damage sources, which is drones and missiles. Honestly, if I would take anything in a wormhole, it would probably be a prophecy just because of how well the tank is as well. So it's already a really good platform, and so I completely agree with that analysis from my perspective as well. The Harbinger is struggling a bit more in power level and popularity, and is therefore getting stronger than average buffs to speed, agility, along with a bit more armor and some valuable capacitor. So yeah, Harbinger, not bad. That one seems to be getting a bigger buff. Then we've got the Ferox is getting a very significant change in the form of new skill bonus and slot changes. The shield resistance bonus is being swapped for a hybrid damage. Okay, and a high slot and turret is being traded for a mid slot. This leaves the Ferox with 7.5 effective turrets and the ability to use the new mid slot to either compensate for the resistance bonus. Okay, interesting. The Drake is not particularly favored among elite PvPers these days, but remains extremely popular overall. As we've seen in numbers, it has benefited significantly from the Aegis missile changes, especially the heavy missile damage buff. The extra power grid and mobility will provide value, prove valuable to this ship, and we expect it to remain the most commonly flown battlecruiser. Yeah, if you're gonna buff the Drake, considering that it's already flown so often, then that is indeed going to just keep it on top when it comes to being used. So overall, the feeling I'm getting here is that they actually want to increase the use of the battlecruisers themselves. That's not something that we see from those numbers. That could have been interesting. So they're planning to buff all battlecruisers. But depending on some of the numbers in between them, they're going to buff some ships a bit more than others. I think it's okay as long as they don't go completely overboard, of course. The Brutix is receiving significant mobility buffs, taking the title of the most agile Tech 1 battlecruiser, as well as gaining extra hull HP and spare drone capacity. That's interesting. It's already considered a really good PvP ship, considering the amount of damage it does. Giving it extra mobility, considering that it is close range, can be pretty damn nice. And so Brutix hull tanked, or with just a glass cannon, is just going to get better at its job. So that looks nice. Myrmidon, as one of the most powerful and popular Tech 1 battlecruisers, the Myrmidon is receiving the smallest buff in the package. Unfortunate for me, you know, because both of my battle cruisers that I fly most of the time, considering my skills, are getting pretty much the smallest buffs, but I think it's actually normal. Drones have been so popular for so long that, well, the other ships might actually indeed be in need of a bit of a buff. The Cyclone is probably the most underestimated of the Tech 1 battle cruisers. It's quite powerful in the right hands with strong defense and solid mobility. It's receiving the same missile velocity roll bonus as the Drake and gaining an above average mobility buff to help with its strengths. Okay, interesting. Then the Hurricane remains most popular, one of the most popular battlecruisers, although at a more moderate use level than during certain parts of the past. Extra drone bandwidth and bay. Okay, more power grid and significantly increased speed to round out the overall package. Okay, nice buffs for the Hurricane as well, especially the extra drone bandwidth and increased speed. I'd say that the Hurricane didn't feel to me like a very slow ship already, so not bad. And then the Navy battle cruisers, that's only 4 left, so let's quickly go over those. The Navy Harbinger is one of the strongest Navy battle cruisers, taking advantage of plentiful mid-slots and excellent laser tracking. We're adding projection bonus and mouse benefits. Okay, then the Drake Navy issue could be interesting. A change to skill bonuses, with previous missile velocity bonus leaving to make room for a shield resistance bonus enjoyed by... Whoa, that's interesting. Extra power grid and drones open up a... Whoa! That is interesting. So the Drake gets resistance, more drones. This is gonna actually be an interesting PvE ship, I think, with again the combination that I like, missiles and drones. So yeah, interesting. Drake Navy issue. I'll have to look into that, honestly. Making it also the most agile of the Navy battle cruisers. Okay, interesting. Brutix Navy issue is already strong. Increased hull HP and improved mobility again. So I think across the board they do want to make the battle cruisers a little bit more mobile than what they are at the moment. I guess if overall this is considered it's their weakest point, that is normal. And the Hurricane fleet issue is getting again a new set of skill bonuses. double damage bonus replaced with 10% damage and 10% tracking per level. Okay, with an addition of extra power grid, extra drones again, and extra mobility. So I'm really getting the vibe that they're going for a more mobile platform, but also extra drones across the board as well. Well, not all of them, but a lot of them. It's interesting, and I'll need to really digest all of the details. Of course, the use I'm looking for would be to have a good PvE battlecruiser for like C1, C2, C3 wormholes possibly. And then the Drake Navy issue does seem like it's something that could be pretty interesting. But alright, so a rebalance of all of these battlecruisers, that's already quite a bit, but that's not the only thing we've got going here. So let's go to the community website, because we also have a dev blog that's going to make a lot of people happy, I think, with next set of sovereignty and capital movement iterations. So again, showing that CCP is actually taking feedback and it's willing to review some of the aspects of the game. Let me see. Number 1, pretty big right here. It will no longer be possible to online endorse link on interceptors. So the troll scepters are going to go. We've been observing activity closely since the Aegis release and after internal discussion, and thought we have decided to propose a restriction on endorsing links for interceptors. So a lot of the suggestions that I saw from the player base were actually a lot more sweeping than that, like reducing the use to battlecruiser and up, possibly even only having command ships do them. I thought that was really interesting, but I guess CCP wants to take it slowly here and basically just say, no, it's only the interceptors that won't be able to use it, and we'll see where we go from there. But again, keep in mind, sure, they took a few months to see how all of this panned out, but here is the first iteration, and it is very much possible that if they see, well, they've just switched from interceptor to something else that's equally annoying, maybe stealth bombers, who knows, that they are actually going to go and put other restrictions on it, and maybe end up with that one solution that I thought was really interesting, is to have the command ships be the endosis ships, but you could also give those extra bonuses or something like that. There's something interesting to do with command ships, I feel. It's just not for this release. Let me see, what else was there? Passive regeneration of structure capture progress. So that was to combat a little bit of the troll endosising, I guess that's how you pronounce that. That was happening where people would attack, let's say, a station or something else from sovereignty with endosis, but then had absolutely no plan to actually go after the structure itself when all of the nodes would spawn that you would have to fight over. And so the new system, from what I understand, is that if you don't actively try to go after the nodes, after the attackers, they will have an automatic regeneration rate, so that the defenders in the end will just regain control of the station after, or whatever, after it's been reinforced. And that's something that was really asked for quite a lot as well. So again, listening to the player base here, I think that's good news. And here are the details on that as well. The ability to self-destruct sovereignty structures, that was actually, I've seen that on day one, when the endosis system was being put on the test server. It was one of the worries that I did see there, was how are we going to be able to transfer sovereignty to another alliance or to someone else. And it was also suggested, I'm really pretty sure of that, right there in thread, just allow us to self-destruct them. And so here it is finally. I mean, it took a little bit of time. We have to be patient with iteration in the game, but you'll be able to self-destruct soft structures so that other people can claim the stuff when they're friendly to you. Now, I think the next step would of course be to allow people to self-destruct the outposts, but I guess that could be a little bit dangerous when it comes to spies and stuff like that as well. And then there is also iteration on the jump fatigue mechanic, and if I'm not mistaken, that at the moment if you jump around too much and too far, you can actually end up with being unable to jump for 30 days, which is of course pretty damn long, and that's going to be reduced to a maximum of 5 days. I think that this is very reasonable. I also I'm not entirely sure if I've actually read that was really the major problem with it, but it feels very reasonable to have someone say, okay, you can't jump your super for 5 days, but for 30 days that's like an entire sub. So yeah, to say you can't use you can't use that part of the game for an entire sub month, I do think that's actually quite punishing. And so hopefully this could bring like maybe a couple of capital and super capital pilots back in the game, knowing that, well, they'll be able to use their ships a little bit more often than once every every $15 that they pay. So yeah, that one is pretty interesting as well. I think overall this is in line with what the community expected. Maybe not as drastic as what some of the nullsec powers want, but I think overall this will be regarded as a step in the right direction. Let me see what else was there. Oh yes, this is a video. I'm making it on Monday and it should come out on Wednesday. The reason is tomorrow is not looking too good on time, but the 07 show should be up again tomorrow. I think that's pretty damn good. So maybe community website, can I find you again? Oh, well, we are, of course, on the community website. So the 07 show is returning on September 17th. That should be tomorrow if you watch the video on the day of release on Wednesday. Of course, I'll try to look at that. And what I'm hoping is maybe a little bit more information on the new structures. That would be welcome. Or just maybe some new information or something like that. I'll definitely watch the 07 show and hope for some good information that we could get from there. And then finally, as I said, I'm really short on time, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to do the mass test on duality tomorrow, but I did want to touch on the brain in the box system that CCP is working on, which should improve overall performance. So for people that don't know what this is, maybe I'll quickly go over this one. At the moment when someone jumps from system to system, or I think it's even undocked from a station, the server has to recalculate all of their attributes depending on their skills and a whole lot of other factors. CCP once showed the math behind this, and it's extremely complex and convoluted, and so Brain in the Box is a system that they're trying to develop to make this a much more smooth computation for the server, which should allow for much better performance when going from one server to the next, or from one system to the next. And they've actually been working on that for quite a lot. I do remember that there's been one test before that was very, very buggy. I didn't join it and there were a lot of problems, but I also read in the Reddit thread on this from one of the CCP developers that this next test is going to be very important for them, and that it could help indicate whether or not Brain in the Box is coming close to something that they could consider for a release, or trying to pin a release date on that. So Brain in the Box is actually another part of the development here that CCP really wants to try and improve the game, but they're coming up against a lot of that old stuff, of old ways that EVE Online used to do things that they need to fix. So we have to be patient when it comes to this game. It is, after all, more than 10 years old, so there's already quite a lot that CCP will always have to try to manage. But this could really be something that is going to improve, or that could improve performance in the game across the board. Although it is just tinkering under the hood, it's not something you'll see or experience right away. But I really do like the fact that they're working very hard on this, and that there are signs that Brain in the Box is taking shape, and that at some point, yeah, we could see this improvement to EVE Online. Anyways, there you go, guys. CCP has been quite busy. There's quite a lot to cover, and I'm really starting to get stoked for Vanguard. And as I said, hopefully we'll see some spoilers in the 07 show as well. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.